What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. I'm your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm in the house. Yeah, let's go. This is going to be a good episode, buddy.
All right, yeah, we had to go ahead and do that. Kyle loves this instrumental. He edits the reels, and I always hear it, and he's like, it works well. People like it, engages, it gets me hyped. So I thought, what a better way than to introduce him with just some fire.
There was one point when Josh was going through the reels, and about 12 in a row, it was the exact same song, and I didn't even realize. It's a good one. I like it, you know?
When you get hyped up, you got to lean into it, right? And this is Motivation Monday, so we're here to get you fired up, inspired, and educated so you can have a great week and make amazing strides forward in your fitness journey. And we're going to kick it off as we always do with some killer quotes. And I'm going to go ahead and start it with mine. And this is not so much a quote as it is something from a song, and I'm sure it's derived from a quote, but it's something that's always been on my head. And today I heard it in a different light. And the quote essentially is that there's three types of people in life: people who make it happen, people who watch it happen, and people who don't even know what's going on. And then they say choose one. And I think this is really powerful if you actually look at it through a lens. So in the sense of fitness, there's people that make it happen. There's people that get out there, people like you. They listen to a podcast on fitness, health, and happiness so they can learn more, get more tools in their toolbox, realize what's going to work, what's not going to work, get motivated, get out, do that action, and see that result. Then there's people that watch what's going on. They watch people doing well. They listen to the podcast. Maybe they don't act on the info. They hear it's good to get a coach. They don't get a coach. They realize they should be in the gym. They know strength training is the way, but they neglect to do that, or they know what macros are, eating healthy. Maybe they've done in the past, and they just watch it happen, and they don't actually get that progress they want. And then the third, I think, is the worst of all, and I think this is where most of the general population will fall, which is people that don't even know what's going on. And time again, for me, it's so obvious how things work in fitness, what protein does, what strength training will do, what the effect of lifting weights will be. But then you see from the gen pop, the things you'll hear protein's horrible for your kidneys. And you're like, protein is a nutrient. And you're just vilifying the entire nutrient. Or girls that say, I don't want to lift weights because I'm going to get bulky. Things that are very broken as myths, but that people actually have no knowledge in the space, that they're just completely oblivious to what's going on in that journey. So the best thing I think you can do, because you want to choose that person that's making it happen, is to actually have that knowledge and have that action. When knowledge meets action, that's when you become unstoppable. You've heard the quote before, knowledge is power only when applied. And I think this quote really illustrates that. And I think it's an excellent reminder to make sure you're doing things the right way. You're putting in that action, and you're not somewhere in between where you're actually hurting yourself. And just the same with the person that doesn't know what's going on. There's lots of people that work really hard. They try to get fit, but they're going about it the wrong way, doing the wrong things, buying expensive supplements, doing gimmicky workouts, not training hard, not doing what actually is going to get them progress. And just because you're working hard doesn't mean you see results. Just because you listen to every fitness thing ever, you have all the knowledge in the world, if you don't get in there and challenge yourself in the gym, you won't see change. So once again, the quote is, there's three types of people in life: people that make it happen, people that watch it happen, and the people that don't even know what's going on. Choose one.
I love that. And honestly, it's super inspiring. I wish 100% of the population were the ones that make it happen. If there was a stat on this, especially in fitness, I'd say it's just such a low percentage. And it is so hard because I speak to so many people, and they'll give really good advice and just know exactly what's up. In that middle section where Josh had said, they know what's kind of happening, but they're not taking that action. And it's just it's tough because I know so many people have potential, but they're not putting their foot down. They're not stepping forward. But yeah, I just say, if you are the person that's making it happen, that's showing up, as I always say, credit to you, but just aim to be that person, aim to go from one of those options and try to be that person, and you can definitely do some great things. But yeah, so my quote this week is quite simple. It is something that Josh pulled up, and we had shared on Threads recently, and we're coming up with some of these different quotes and things that we've shared in the past, and putting it out there for inspiration for all of you. But this one I really liked, and it is, I don't care how fit or out of shape you are, no one is better than anyone at the gym. And that's just plain and simple. You hear and see all these things, and some of you may see people recording in the gym and then posting online. I think a lot of people, even in the fitness industry, anyone who maybe is a trainer, or there's some influencers who just just think they're so much above anyone out there. And then when you're someone who's just getting into the gym, it can be so intimidating. But I'll be honest and I'll tell you, whether you've been in there for, 1 month, 1 day, 1 year, or 10 years or whatever, we're all equal. The same space should be shared by everybody. And just don't let people get to you. Like, there will always be that one person who trots around like they own the place, who take up everything, who's disrespectful. Like, don't let that person, or that person who films something online and just like disrespects someone, like, don't let that get to you. Like, even sometimes when I read these comment sections, a lot of people are like, this is the exact reason I'm so intimidated to go to the gym, and it's scary when I see these people just like filming these things online and stuff like that. But we all deserve to be in the same space, like, no matter what, out of shape, in great shape. It's all an amazing shared space, and I just wanted to share that as a friendly reminder, and hopefully this helps you in some way or another.
Yeah, I'm big on this too. I think it's so easy to, have some sense of pride if you've been there forever. Right now we have teen fitness going on in our gym, there's essentially a lot of kids in the gym. It can be a little frustrating at times. I think it's ages 12 to 17. It's a free membership for them in the summer where they can go get in the gym, get active. And like, it's so easy to be like, oh, this person's being annoying. They're overusing this machine. There's 6 of them doing this one thing. But even myself, I started with that like 11 years ago. It's crazy. That's how I got into fitness. I had that free membership. I went in there, I do the little circuits of machines. I knew better. And like, even the other day on the machine, there's this kid that came up and said, are you using that? And I'm like, yeah. And he just stood there for like a minute, 2 minutes basically. And then he would go, once he got my machine, he did to the next person. He was doing one set on each machine. And like, there's no way he's trying to be obnoxious. It's probably just all he knows. Like, even to my quote going at the start. And I think it's a good time even to encourage people. And if someone's doing something kind of ridiculous, you can always talk to them about it, or you can ignore it, or it is what it is. Like, it's part of being in the gym. And like, yeah, you should have no sense of pride that you deserve to be on that machine anymore. I don't deserve to be on them. Sure, I'm paying for a membership, but I think it's an amazing opportunity for them to get started. And who knows how his fitness journey will go. Maybe he'll be like me and start a business and help all these people transform and learn a podcast. And like, it all starts by having a good experience. And I think that's why it's really important to be nice and supportive to people who are starting out, and also not to be that person who's overjudging and ridiculing people in the gym, where they are in their journey or anything like that. So I absolutely love that quote and think that is absolutely awesome. Now we're going to jump into our thoughts. I know Kyle has some really good ones, so I'll let him take it away.
So yeah, recently we made a Thursday podcast like just over a week ago. Is about one of the things like when traveling and just like overall fit people, they say no a lot. And I got thinking, like, sometimes I'll film these podcasts and I'll have some bonus thoughts, and I obviously don't film it, but I write it down to talk about in the future. Some things I say, some things I don't. Sometimes I'll post it on Instagram. And by the way, that's a great reminder. Like, I was even just thinking on a side note of what our best platform is. Like, if I were to just be talking to someone and say, hey, follow us here. Like, it's Instagram. We post every day. We do stories every day. Like, we try to do a ton of stuff there. Like, of course, we love the YouTube channel. The podcast is great, but just for like that quick, here you go. Here's what we do. Here's what we're all about. We've done about 1,300 posts. So make sure to follow us there. But anyway, so I got thinking about when you say no to a lot of people, my biggest thing is to evaluate where the other person's coming from. So I was saying, we had a few examples of a gentleman who can kind of try to persuade you and try to put you down. And, like, if you, let's say you make a healthier decision, they end up saying, oh, well, like, what the heck, you're trying to be healthy. Like, they say all this stuff, right? Oftentimes stuff like that can come from insecurity, right? If someone, let's say you happen to go to a family event and grandma keeps pushing the cookies and the dessert, it's probably not coming out of insecurity. It's probably coming out of love. Let's say if you have a partner and you guys have this specific thing, maybe a glass of wine or a specific fun thing, and that's typically what you do, it could be also a part of bonding, right? So the main thing is that when I do evaluate situations, because I'm not going to say no to everything, right? But I always think, where's this person coming from that wants me to do this? And it just allows me to make an easier decision based off of what's going on there, right? If grandma's pushing those cookies and she spent hours trying to just put it together and she knows I'm going to like it and I just brush her off and say no, it's going to be a bit of a different situation than that friend who's just saying, really? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, what don't you want? Because sometimes even friends or other people that are out there, they feel better when they're self-sabotaging themselves and then someone joins in. Let's say someone's just having way too many drinks. They feel so much better when someone else joins in there. So moral of the story is just evaluating situations. I'm a big fan of it. Sometimes I'll say yes, sometimes I'll say no. For the most part, I say no, but it really depends, and it's something that I wanted to mention today. Very random, but hopefully that helps in some way or another.
Yeah, lately and just in general, I've been trying to think about like where someone's coming from. Even when someone has like a frustration that is completely irrational and ridiculous, like when you meet them with like a point of hostility or you kind of escalate that, it makes it so much worse for them. And I think that's a great reminder of it. And instead, if you can kind of just think, where is this person coming from and respond more positively, it doesn't need to be a big fight and it's easier to drop it when you're just like above it. And I think that is a really good way of illustrating that for sure. Like to analyze, why is this person doing this? Like maybe it's their own insecurity and you can just own up and be your own. And I think sometimes you can let the like attack down on someone if you just actually kind of act like you're not bothered by it, and because sometimes they expect that reaction, that pushback. So sometimes not buying into that is really good. And even in the past, I guess my thought was even that component of like going first, that attitude towards it. Like today I was walking with my dog and there was this couple that was walking by and they looked like frustrated that the dog was like kind of taking more of the sidewalk. I tried to pull them over, they looked kind of mad at me, and then I was just like good morning and smiled at them and they lit up and smiled right back. Like just the same, like if you go out of your way to have really good positive interactions and meet people with that, it's amazing to see like just the happiness come out of them as well, which I think is really, really cool. And a little bit of a sidebar of that, but I think it relates quite nicely.
Amazing. I love Josh sharing that one. And I have one other thought that I was thinking of. So Josh had us over. He did, a great job barbecuing some amazing burgers, some great food. And that was awesome. He's got a nice a nice barbecue, and he takes care of it. And you'll understand why I'm talking about this in a second. And so long story short, I've got a barbecue as well, and I have not been taking the greatest care of it. I don't clean it as much as I should. I don't do the maintenance as much as I should. And that's on me. I know that it's only going to last a certain amount of time. Even raining recently, like I didn't have the cover on. Like there's a couple things. And as you know, my brain goes crazy places. And I was sitting there thinking, it's only going to last so much time. Like my barbecue here versus Josh's, which he takes care of. He's been doing some great stuff with it and we'll always clean it and everything. And I'm bringing that up because our fitness journey and our bodies are so comparable to some of these appliances and these devices, right? If you're someone who takes care of your body, you're always feeling really well, you're always just doing great things to it, it's going to last so much longer. No injuries, just longevity. You're going to feel great, your energy. But if you're just not taking care of it, like it's such a good reminder that you want it to last for as long as you physically can and just be at its peak condition. And even thinking of a car, right? If you're not giving it oil changes, you're never filling it up with proper gas, you're just dumping water in there, you're never washing it, like it's going to only last so much longer versus someone who takes care of it. And I know so many people who just, I guess you could say, don't take care of themselves and don't care as much. And I know if you are listening to this podcast, like you obviously do care, but I really want to just encourage you to take those action steps. And even thinking like, for me, I want to be living as long as I physically can be in the best possible shape with no issues. And of course, things will come up and I'll have to navigate that. But I'm always thinking within each decision, whether it's food, whether it's workouts, cardio, like sleep, like I want to give I have one body, you know what I mean? Like I can't replace it like a barbecue I can obviously replace, but it's just a random thought that I had, and I just really want to encourage you, and hopefully this helps you in some way or another.
Incredibly well said. And I think just the attitude of taking care of things is an awesome way. Like I made some of my mistakes in the past. You get something, time goes by, you take it for granted, and it gets to that point where it almost feels irreparable. And I know a lot of people feel that way with their physiques. They say they're doing good, they're crushing it, school happens, maybe you're studying to be a doctor, you get overwhelmed, you push that to the side, you get into residency, you do that, you're busy as life can be, you're practicing, and then all of a sudden you're like, I've lost my physique fully, I'm in this crazy busy life, and I put it off. And that's where it's so much better just to take action, take that charge, and take care of things as you can as you go by, and you'll be able to have it a lot longer, you'll appreciate it more. And sometimes it only takes a little bit of effort for a lot of gain. For instance, just being in the gym 5 times a week, making a point to track your food, eat a little healthier, like that alone is going to compound so positively for your physique. Whereas you neglect it, you're only saving 5 hours of your week and you're doing a lot of detrimental damage. So I think that is a really good analogy and really relates well to the body. And now we're going to talk about someone in our program who has been absolutely crushing it. So who is our client shout out for this week?
So this week we have Tayler, who has been working with Coach Armando, and she's lost over 60 pounds. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to check out. You can see the photos there along with some of her top tips, but she's someone that has showed up consistently. And even just like I want to give you a friendly reminder is there's going to be some weeks where everything feels great. There's going to be some weeks where you're just kind of trying to get by and you may not be making tons of progress, but you're still pushing forward in some way or another. And Tayler obviously has done a great job. It's not easy when you've been doing this journey for a while, right? It's easy to do something for a week, for 2 weeks, maybe even 3, but to consistently show up for yourself no matter what, to have these goals, to crush it. Like her strength has gone up so much. She's lost so much weight, her confidence, her self-esteem. Like the best part about when you get results is everything that comes with it. Not just losing 50, 60 pounds, but every part of your life will start to improve. And I can promise you that. Like sometimes people will say, hey, it's hard to say, but I have to get a new pair of clothes. I'm like, yeah, that's going to happen when you come into our program. You're going to be making so many different moves and getting to the right direction and doing so many incredible things. So anyways, with all that being said, anyone who is looking to level up their fitness journey, to take things to the next level, we actually are running an amazing test group for 5 amazing people. This is a paid promotion, but if you are someone who's looking to lose up to 20 pounds of fat and build 5 to 10 pounds of lean muscle over the next 90 days, this is going to be for you. Once again, it is paid, but this is going to be something that's going to save you time, money, energy, and just you're not going to have to worry. You're not going to have to wake up day to day, try to figure this out, struggle for the next few years like a lot of people unfortunately do. So send us a message to our Instagram at ColossusFit, ColossusUSFIT, with the keyword test group. We'll have a conversation, make sure you're the right fit, and get you some absolutely phenomenal results. And we can't wait to help 5 of you awesome people.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get this going, and the 5 of you are going to be absolutely blown away with the change you're going to be able to see in the program. And this is your call to take care of your body. And what's amazing is this isn't just an investment for the here and now. You're going to learn the tools to continue to replicate this for the rest of your life. And that is the biggest thing. We've spoken before to the power of compounding effects. The more you put it off and you learn how not to do it right, and you're that person that doesn't know what's going on, the more you're hindering yourself. But when it's easy, you understand what's going on, you get that deeper knowledge, you have a coach on your side, you will truly be unstoppable. So definitely be sure to take advantage of this offer. But now we're going to go ahead and jump into the mailbag with question number 1, which is always being a cardio bunny. I want to lose fat and build muscle, but I'm a bit scared of getting too bulky. Any tips to put my mind at ease and start lifting more? I feel like it's just in my head.
So yeah, this is a really good question. I know a lot of people, that transition to start lifting weights is tough. Like sometimes you go into the gym and it's just everyone on cardio machines. And I think there's usually 2 reasons that's typically taking place. Number 1 is just people are a bit scared, I guess, to lift weights because of, getting too bulky and all that other stuff. I wouldn't say it's as typical nowadays because there's such great content on lifting weights, but also because form and just like it's so much easier to walk on a treadmill or to do an elliptical than to actually learn proper form of a seated row, a deadlift, all that other stuff. So those are a couple of different things going on there. But honestly, the day you start lifting and lifting consistently, I will say your life will be just so much different. It'll change a ton. And I'll give you 2 examples. Let's say 2 people do lose 10 pounds. One person's been lifting weights, doing a bit of cardio, doing some nutritional changes, and obviously doing great stuff there. Let's say they happen to lose 8 pounds of fat and 2 pounds of muscle, right? That's pretty good. That's kind of standard. That's something that will typically take place. You lose a little bit of muscle. Now, someone else who's just been doing cardio and that's it, let's say they lose 7 pounds of muscle, 3 pounds of fat. The person who's been lifting, their body composition will be completely different. Like they both lost 10 pounds, but the person who's been strength training, their overall tone is going to be so different and it's just going to look absolutely phenomenal. So I'm not trying to sell you on, lifting weights, but I kind of am because it'll change your body composition, your bone density, all that great stuff. And to put your mind at ease is you're not just going to pick up weights and just get too bulky. Like sometimes people look at a bodybuilder who's been doing it for 20 years and they think, I don't want to look like that. It's like, first of all, they're on steroids. Second of all, a lot of times they're comparing themselves. They'll see a guy who's, just super jacked and be like, I don't want to look like that. Just men and women have different hormonal systems as well. And that's something to consider, but more or less, like you will absolutely not get too bulky. I don't care what people say. And sometimes when someone says it, they're comparing themselves to the wrong people. Like I said, someone who's a competitor who's been doing 15 years and, looking to be a bodybuilder and step on stage. But if you're just looking to improve your composition, look better, feel better, lifting weights 3 to 5 times a week will do incredible things for you.
110%. And Kyle summarized that so well. Like, cardio is awesome. It's great to get your heart rate going. It's awesome to burn calories, but lifting will specifically change your composition. As we know, lifting has additional benefits like bone density. It's going to help you feel more confident. It's going to help you move your body better. And in terms of actually seeing physique development, lifting is your best friend. And you should not be scared to lift heavy, because lifting heavy, having challenge is what will produce change. And like Kyle said, that is your biggest key there. If you want to change and see your physique get along, that is exactly why. It's not true. The bulky thing is not true whatsoever. It takes a lot of work to get bulky. So even if you want to get bulky, you're going to have to put in a lot of work. I mean, look at me and Kyle. We've been lifting 11 years and I don't look like Ronnie Coleman yet. And it's easy to get concerned if you've never lifted and think that that's the case. But even if you're really scared, try it for a month, see how you look, and you'll be totally amazed by how awesome you look. And the difference too between just burning calories and having soft muscles is things are going to be flabby, they're going to be loose, they're not going to be strong. When you start lifting, you actually get tighter, denser, nicer looking muscles. Things take shape, they look amazing, and that's where you can really get a lot of that physique development out of it. So this was a killer question, and definitely you should be lifting weights. Everyone should be lifting weights. The benefits could be listed for days, and yeah, there's really nothing to fear there. Now into our second question, which is, how do I eat freely without fearing fat gain after a long dieting phase? What do I do to go ahead and transition?
So honestly, yeah, this is a good question, because a lot of people, they diet a little bit, maybe I guess in this case, after a long dieting phase, and it can be scary because you can fully go backwards. And I've seen a lot of people do it. Honestly, one of our favorite approaches is just to still have a structured approach and to do a bit of a reverse diet, right? So that's where you slowly start to increase calories. And I know a lot of people, because they do a diet phase that's so strict that they don't allow any flexibility, that's just super intense, they end up wanting to go off the deep end afterwards. And so I guess one of my biggest tips throughout the dieting phase as well is to try to still live your life, to still have fun foods. Because if you do 16 weeks, and this is obviously different if you're a competitor, if you're not, but I'd say most people aren't competitors, so keep that in mind. But if you just go 16 weeks, no chocolate, no whatever, like you just push everything away, it's going to be very challenging when you do finish that, because you're going to want absolutely everything. Like if you're just so deprived, and that's why a lot of people succeed afterwards when they follow a flexible approach. They enjoy an ice cream cone here and there if that's what they want, of course, not to just fit it in for the sake of it. But I would say, like, have a flexible approach first of all, and second of all, like having an actual approach afterwards, because most people will be like, okay, I've lost my 25 pounds and they've reached the goal, and then that's it. They don't have any end goal after that. Like, let's say you finish and you lose 25 pounds and you say, now my goal is to get to this point and have my calories at this point. And that's where having a coach comes in handy, of course, because we've seen so many different scenarios, and we can look at someone and say, okay, your calories are down to 1,500. My goal is to get you to about 2,000 and have you, stay in the same body weight range, give or take 2 pounds, for example. Like, we're able to give those types of goals, whereas a lot of people, when they've done it themselves, they don't really know what to expect and what to kind of do. Even sometimes people will just say, well, my goal is to stay exactly at this point. But of course, if you start to introduce more food, you're going to gain a little bit of weight. And there has to be that, I guess, approach and that system and that foundation in place afterwards. So I would just say slowly increase calories to the point where it's like, let's say 50 to 100 per week. But once again, it depends on your situation and where you're at. So I can't give a one size fits all answer, but we can absolutely take care of you. And if you want to join the test group, we can even help you out and do some great things there.
Yeah, where people go wrong is they see a diet as something you complete, a check mark that's done, and then you have an invincibility shield towards calories against you. But when you diet down hard too, your body gets very suppressed. Like a lot of your key hormones like insulin, ghrelin, leptin, all these things that indicate actual energy levels as well as hunger levels, satisfaction levels with food, everything gets a little wonky. And when you start kicking that up, it can actually be an amazing benefit where you can reverse and actually lose more fat and eat more calories. But this is a time that needs to be very calculated, because it's very finicky, and your body, when it starts eating more, is going to say, give me more and more and more, and you can become very like just completely unsatiable. Like, you can be so hungry, and as those things kick up, it can be very confusing. You can see that positive effect for a week, you keep doing it, and then before you know it, you're back at your starting weight and you've kind of wasted that process. And that's where I think one of the biggest issues is people don't take that time serious. They see that check mark, they stop logging, they get loosey-goosey, and they end up at square one. But when you actually let your body phase out of it intelligently, you'll be amazed that you'll actually be able to eat as many calories or close to, if not more, at a lower body weight, maintain that and have balance. but it does take work, practice, and patience. And this is something we specialize in, like Kyle said, and we definitely would love to help you out with it. And then last but not least for today, we have, what are your thoughts on macro hacks? Are they too good to be true, and are they worth your time? I find they're like the new supplements, and it's a phase everyone is going through. So I love this question because there's always been macro hacks. Since I've started, I've loved macro hacks. Like when you find a fun alternative to something, it's like the best thing in the world. So even for me, like I like this cheese, this lactose-free cheese called Allegro. It's essentially like no fat, no carbs, pure protein. It's really tasty. And like even yesterday, I had like a third of a brick just to get some protein in with some Brazilian nuts is like an amazing snack. And I love it. And when you can find an alternative for something you love in a healthier way that's lower calorie, more protein, better macros, it can allow you to eat more of that thing to a benefit. And of course, there's a flip side of that, because even the person asking this question was saying how a lot of these foods are just jacked up with cheap sources of protein. And then I even said, and then oftentimes they'll inject like a lot of liquid fiber in there because that's obviously going to fill you. And then if you do the whole net carbs debate, we won't even get into that. Those calories could effectively be zero. But there are drawbacks to this. When you're having a lot of that fake fiber, it's very, very filling. It's not inherently bad or anything like that. And I know fake fiber sounds horrible. It's liquid fiber, but it's very filling, and you can cause digestive issues if you're pounding like 60, 80 grams of fiber, especially if you're like most people and you're having very low fiber, like 20. So that's where there can be drawback of eating too many of these hacky foods, like even Smart Sweets. Like there's a ton of fiber in there. They're really low calories. They're not as tasty, but you get more volume. So oftentimes the trade-off is you lose taste and flavor at the point of getting more volume of something in. And like an example for this is in Walmart in the States, like in Florida at least, there's these buns. They're called like keto hamburger buns or something. And there's something like 60 calories or something like that, and they're like 10 grams of protein. Don't quote me on it. They're really good macros effectively. And I thought, okay, this has got to be a gimmick. And of course, a lot of it's fiber. Like that's how you're saving on the carbs. But they're delicious. I swear they taste identical. I like cook them next to normal hamburger buns. And like to me, I can eat a hamburger bun for 60 calories, or I can eat one at 230 calories, and the 60 calorie one has mainly protein. Like to me, I can eat more burgers that way. I can have more of the buns. I don't even care about the buns anyways. They're like a placeholder for me to enjoy my burger. So for me, that's a net win. Where people go wrong, I think, is like they buy everything. They only get these special bagels, special bread, and they never eat like normal sources of whole foods. And like, I think these are a really good tool. Like I love the Quest chips. They're not real chips, they're protein chips. It's a good alternative. But like I said, I still really do like my bread and butter, like my just nice solid whole foods. And you can always eat a ton of volume with that anyways. And there's some things too where the hacks are good. For instance, I brought for my buddy the other day one of those Quest peanut butter cups. And he had it and he's like, oh, it's pretty good. But at the same time, it is good, but it's not as good as the real thing. And that's what you'll find with most of these things. Like I'm sure even Kyle can speak to the ice creams. There's Cool Way and Halo Top. Effectively, it's like 1/3 of the calories with protein in it. But of course, you are sacrificing that actual flavor and taste and enjoyment. And that's where it can be tough. Some of it's marketing. Some of them will overstate the benefits of their macros. Like I remember there was a protein that was going around that was completely too good to be true, and it didn't add up at all. And there's a lot of confusion there with the net carbs versus total carbs. And that's a whole nother debate for a different day. But that's where you can kind of play with these things, use them sparingly. But I also think there's an amazing case to be had just to enjoy whole foods. But there are times too where if you're like, I like the Cool Way alternative of ice cream just as much as Ben & Jerry's, I find that too heavy and it allows me to eat more of it and have it more frequently. That's a net win. You should do that. And that's where flexible dieting is so beneficial, because you can make these choices in your journey. You can decide what you want. I like Quest chips as much as normal chips. They're pre-portioned, they're 100 calories. I'm getting my protein. To me, that's a win-win-win. And I guess one more drawback is these things can be expensive. So you have to weigh these factors and make an educated decision. But I'm sure Kyle has a lot of good value to add on here.
Yeah, like, and similar to what Josh, everything was so well said there, because like as he was speaking, I was like, he hit my point there. He hit my point. But it's just, even like the person asking this does have more calories. She's trying to bulk. She's trying to do these, specific things. And so for some people, it's also very dependent on your situation, right? If you're someone is on, half the calories of that individual, and, you want to and just enjoy a bagel, like that's the thing that you've just been looking forward to, but it doesn't make sense. Like I'll be the first person to say some people may not like it, but the macros of bagels to me just don't make sense. I don't enjoy spending all those carbs on something that to me isn't as good. Whereas for some people, they'd be like, hey man, I get this amazing taste. I get 10 to 15 grams of protein. Yeah, it's a little bit pricier, but that's their fun thing. But similar to what Josh was saying, like there are some things that it makes sense. Like for me with those Quest chips, like I don't care for chips anymore at all because that gives me the satisfaction. I'm very picky with my ice cream stuff because I love it so much. So I can't say that I've really necessarily enjoyed the Halo Top Cool Way type of approach. And I would rather just wait for a day where I have, let's say 500 calories and just go get an ice cream cone and just enjoy that. And that's my fun little thing versus just like, kind of having a tub to have it because it's less calories and, I don't enjoy it as much. So it very much is a personal thing. And I think they definitely can be utilized. But I think the biggest thing Josh said that I wanted to hit home was like, if it's used within moderation and you're not just like the entire day, okay, breakfast, I'm going to have this hack here and I'm going to do this. Lunch, same thing, right? Like veggies are great. Protein sources are great, like lean meats and all that amazing stuff, but just really make sure that it's like a small portion of it because once again, the fiber will add up a ton, the price will add up a ton. Like just make sure healthy whole foods are a core of it. And then if you need 20 plus extra grams of protein and you add this extra little thing in, then that's absolutely awesome. But yeah, that's all I got. And hopefully that helps in some way or another.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in today. We really do hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you're ready to take this to the next level, and I promise you are, and together we cannot fail, send that first message. Go ahead and DM us on our Instagram to @ColossusFit, ColossusFit, using the keyword test group to get your journey started. And invest in yourself for now, invest in yourself for later. Get those amazing compounded results of knowing what to do, doing the right thing, seeing that change. Any question you have within coaching, you get unlimited text interaction, unlimited forum videos. You're working one-on-one with a coach, custom routine, custom macros, everything explained, amazing resources. Everything is done for you. When you come in this as a white glove service, you are the king or queen of this service. You're going to be taken care of. And this is your chance to see that change from home, anywhere in the world with any variables, restrictions going on. We're here to take care of you. All you got to do is shoot us a message to get started on Instagram with the keyword test group, and we will take great care of you. So thank you everyone for tuning in today. Peace out.